Hey everybody, this is Billy Joe from Green Day, and first of all, just wanted to say thank you so much for coming out to support the local indie record store, and you're going to be some of the first people to hear our new album, Saviors. We're incredibly proud of this one. I hope you guys love it as much as we do. It's been a long time in the making, and I feel like it's the best record we've ever made. So thank you, and see you on the road.
Back in September 2020, I did my first ever album review on one of my favorite bands. It was for Green Day's 13th and also most recent album at the time, Father of All Motherfuckers, which had gotten quite the polarizing reception. I had just recently got back into Green Day that very summer, and felt obligated to make that review after listening to the album for myself, and while my reaction to it was pretty mixed, I didn't think it was as bad as everyone was saying it was. With that said, it is still probably the band's weakest effort, and I rarely ever go back to it to this day. Since my initial review, I think I've gotten a little easier on Father of All, but I still wasn't the biggest fan of that album's direction. That said, my personal favorite tracks from the album are still I Was a Teenage Teenager, Stab You in the Heart, Sugar Youth, and I even grew kind of fond of Take the Money and Crawl. Just skip over the weird build-up intro, the song itself is a banger. I didn't really mess around with too many of the other tracks on Father of All, aside from live performances of the title track and especially Graffiti-Ya. The latter I think is one of the best songs Billy has ever written in terms of lyrics. I just really wish the actual production on the studio track was handled differently. Seriously, check out the live acoustic version from 2020 and the full band debut of the song at Fretmod in Las Vegas 2023. Both performances are fantastic. Knowing the way the band operates, and after becoming way more enamored with Green Day now more than I was like 4 years ago, I figured their next album was gonna most likely follow 4 years after the fact, especially when looking back at how their previous album releases were usually spread apart, besides the trilogy obviously, not sure what drugs they were on to release all 3 of those albums in the same year. At the end of my Father of All review, while I did state I didn't like the overall direction of the album, I also personally felt it wasn't a good display of how the band's future work was gonna pan out too. Just a few months after Father of All, the band released the cover of Dreaming by Blondie, and I thought it sounded way better. By the time 2021 rolled around, I was a total fan of their work again and waited anxiously for them to release new material. And we would get just that in February. Just 1 year after Father of All, Green Day released a new single for Here Comes the Shock, which was a song that was actually recorded during the Father of All sessions. And yeah, it shows. Here comes the shock. Here comes the shock. Here comes the shock. Here comes the shock. I swear to God, that's what the majority of the song sounds like. It's not very shocking why this was left off the album, but also, wow, how fucking bland does your song have to be to get left off of Father of All Motherfuckers? Thankfully, the next single they released was miles better, in my opinion. In May, we got Pollyanna, and this was the first time I really listened to a new Green Day song since Revolution Radio and felt, oh shit, this slaps. It still sounds pretty different when compared to a lot of their early work, but it was a very energetic and uplifting song that I think a lot of us really needed to hear during these very depressing pandemic times. The song sounds great live too, maybe even better. Everything's gonna be alright. Share your bread with friends you don't know. Hold the truth and never let go. Don't give up and go with what you know's for real. Speaking of which, the band was able to get back to touring again after COVID vaccines were becoming more widely distributed, which meant concerts were safe to go back to again. For the most part. This was during their Hella Mega Tour, and I actually went to one of these concerts on July 29th, 2021 in Houston, Texas at the Minute Maid Park. It was the first time I ever went to a concert, and it was a lot of fun. Plenty of fans knocked the Hella Mega Tour for its very copy and paste set list they were doing for most of the shows, but I still had a blast, and I loved that I got to see Pollyanna and Still Breathing played live before they were taking out the sets. I will say, the Rock and Roll All Night Kiss cover they kept playing got really old after a while, and I'm not quite sure why it was such a mainstay at their recent shows, especially when they could have filled the spot with a different deep cut. Bring back Stay the Night or 99 Revolutions or Oh Love. Why did the trilogy have zero representation this whole fucking tour? Well, they did end up releasing a live track for Rock and Roll All Night as a single in 2021, which I won't knock. Green Day are a great live band, and it's always fun getting to hear official live material from them. last standalone single of 2021 they would put out, which I personally feel is one of their most slept on songs, was Holy Toledo, which was a song they made for a movie I didn't watch. I really love the song though. It's a lot of fun and I wish more people would listen to it. But as I said, Holy Toledo would be the last single we'd get for 2 years. This was because Green Day would go right into recording their 14th album around this time. Production of the next album supposedly started once the 2020s rolled around, and this would kind of be a special occasion because according to Billy Joe in an interview with K-Rock in 2019, Father of All Motherfuckers would be the last album they released under contract with Warner Records.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll just put out another album next year or something like that. We don't know because we are off our contract with Warner's.
Oh, that's how it is.
Yeah.
So we're going to do whatever we want.
Okay.
I believe myself.
So really, this next album would end up being Green Day's first independently released album since fucking Kerplunk in 1991. The advertising for this album was also much better than last time. We didn't get some shit cringy billboard again. Instead, the boys would post these little videos teasing various new songs they were working on.
It's like
At the time, this new album was speculated to be called 1972, since that year was almost always attached to the social media posts. 1972, by the way, is a reference to the year Billy, Mike, and Trey were all born. However, 1972 would not be the title of their next album, and to hold over fans waiting on new material, they'd also reissue older records with newly released content. They had already did a 25th anniversary release of Insomniac in March 2021, but all it really came with was a few live tracks and some neat packaging. That was kind of it. But thankfully the boys would pull out all the stops for the next anniversary release, which was for the Nimrod 25th anniversary edition in January 2023. This gave us unreleased demos and a full concert recording that had never been released before, and they'd knock it out the park yet again with a 30th anniversary release of Dookie in September 2023. This gave us the never before heard 4-track demos, along with widely distributing other Dookie demos that had been online for years, full concert recordings of both Woodstock and their Gartage concerts, plus re-recordings of 409 in Your Coffee Maker and Christie Road that were made during the Dookie sessions. The Christie Road re-recording, by the way, was never released before and also never leaked somehow. It was just lying around somewhere collecting dust. Why didn't they release it as a standalone single in the mid-90s? Must have been a label thing preventing it, but I'm glad it's finally out there. This and the re-recording of 409 are the best versions of the songs and no one can convince me otherwise.
My interests are looking to break through these chains that control my futures and take away the strains of being lonely. Take me to the tracks at Christie Road.
Okay, you're probably wondering why I'm wasting your time talking about all these other releases and not the main topic. That's mainly because I feel like the singles after Father of All and the reissues of older albums are an important thing for setting up what was to come. The new singles would pave the way for how the 14th album would sound like, and I personally think the re-releases were very smartly timed since it likely helped remind people of how good and varied Green Day have always been. Father of All Motherfuckers was a different, weird sounding album that turned off a lot of people, so this next album had the potential to win back those fans. I was probably the most intrigued with their next album, not only because it was their first independent one since the 90s, but also because it was going to be co-produced by none other than Rob Cavallo. For those who don't know, Rob is kind of fucking awesome. He was the one who got the boys signed with For Priest and helped produce all their albums from Dookie up to American Idiot. He also worked with them on the trilogy albums, Uno Dos Tres, which was the last time he produced anything with the band. And most of the new album were being recorded with Rob at the same studios that American Idiot and 21st Century Breakdown were made. So that honestly built up a lot of hype for me and a lot of fans too. We all wanted to hear these new songs so badly, and we wouldn't hear more about the project for a good while, though that didn't mean the entire album would remain in secrecy as leaks were bound to happen. Apparently, around May 2023, a new song titled One-Eyed Bastard was leaked and making rounds in the Green Day community, but according to certain people, who I'm not gonna name, the song was supposedly recorded in 2021 and was already being shared aired in private before fans got access to it 2 years later. But the first time we'd officially hear a new song from Green Day's upcoming album would be a concert that took place in Canada around July 2023, where the band debuted the song 1981. A lot of fans suspected that because of them playing this new song live, we were most likely going to get some updates on the new album very soon. And they'd be right. In September, a website popped up that was called Is Green Day Awake Yet?, which started making rounds. I initially thought this was a fan site made as a joke at first, until I saw the band members sharing the link on their social media accounts. Then I realized, oh shit, we're probably getting something at the end of September. I know the wake me up when September ends jokes get kind of old, especially for Billy Joe himself, but this was a pretty genius marketing strategy, all things considered. Well, October 1st came and the band posted this. An announcement for an announcement, all for an overused joke. Well played, boys. But also, holy crap, we're finally getting new Green Day! And once the day came, Green Day would announce their new album to be called Saviors, and was releasing in January. Okay, I was expecting maybe a February release, but I don't mind getting it sooner. Taken from the Green Day Instagram, Saviors is an invitation to Green Day's brain, their collective spirit as a band, and an understanding of friendship, culture, and legacy of the last 30 plus years. It's raw and emotional, funny and disturbing, it's a laugh at the pain, weep in the happiness kind of record. Honesty and vulnerability. What is Saviors about, you ask? Power pop, punk, rock, indie triumph, disease, war, inequality, influencers, yoga retreats, alt-right, dating apps, masks, mental health in all caps, climate change, oligarches, social media division, free weed, fentanyl, fragility. What would Andy Warhol do? What would John Waters do? What would Quentin Tarantino do? What would Green Day do? Yeah, that sums it up. The cover art would feature an altered picture that was originally taken by Chris Steele Perkins during the Troubles conflict in 1978, but the photo itself was slightly edited to have the youth depicted have a much happier face. Black and white album art is always nice. Kinda reminds me of Warning, even though that one had green and orange text while Saviors uses pink. Cosmo and Wanda has records. Okay, that wasn't my joke, that was Shaddix's. The Saviors announcement also came with the release of a new song too. The American Dream is Killing Me. I listened to it on loop for months until they slowly kept releasing new singles for the next 3 to 4 months. With all the anniversary edition albums and now new music, it was a pretty fantastic time to be a Green Day fan. Green Day would also have their own radio station for a short time, on channel 107 presented by SiriusXM, which ran from December 27th to January 23rd. They played all the usual radio hits, but also a few deep cut songs that weren't usually on the radio, along with having Billy, Mike, and Trey come on to tell stories about the songs. It was pretty rad, and I'm kinda sad it's gone. Though I did record a bunch of their stories, and I'm gonna play a few of them for this review later on. They even did another release party for Saviors at the Irving Plaza in New York City, which was the first time the band played there since the Trilogy era back in 2012. And they even broadcast almost the entire concert on their Green Day radio channel just for the fans. I say almost the entire concert because for some dumbass reason, they left out the last 2 songs being Homecoming and What's Her Name. Yeah, they were just left out the broadcast despite SiriusXM claiming it was going to be the entirety of the show. What the fuck happened? Moving on, this next thing wasn't technically part of their marketing, but I personally found it pretty goddamn smart for Billy to do. The band would make a guest appearance on Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve a month before their album release, and during the performance of American Idiot, Billy changed the lyrics "I'm not part of a redneck agenda" to this. I'm not part of a MAGA agenda, which would piss off a lot of right-wing people, and in turn, helped Green Day get trending and got more attention to them. Like sure, it pissed people off, but who cares, it got them talking about Green Day again. Not trying to be political, which I know is kind of hard to do when it comes to talking about bands like Green Day, but I find it really funny how certain people out there are so out of touch with this band that they often don't realize that Green Day's ideology and beliefs don't line up with theirs. It is so fucking funny for a fan like me to see people say, keep the politics out of American Idiot. Motherfucker, did you read the name of the song? Do you also not realize that the song is from an album in 2004, which was heavily inspired by Billy Joel's hatred for George W. Bush's presidency at the time? Do people just not do research these days? It kinda reminds me of when people at Trump rallies would play Killing in the Name by Rage Against the Machine, only to get pissed later on when they learned that Rage isn't conservative at all. What machine did you think they were raging against? The fucking fax machine? Back to Green Day. To sort of explain my perspective of the band before talking about Saviors, upon becoming a fan of them in 2020, it was a weird time. I usually try to keep up with a favorite band's full discography. I have favorite songs across all of Green Day's albums throughout the years, and I often take the time to listen to their albums in full on the anniversary release dates of each of them. It can help me revisit certain tracks I may have missed the first time, and might end up really liking more upon re-listening. I especially keep up with their live concerts too, because there have been plenty of cases where I'm not super crazy about a song on the original album, but upon hearing a damn good live performance of said song, it actually helps it become one of my favorites. There's even some cases where I think a song sounds better live compared to the studio version. That's the magic of Green Day for me. Every album can come off as unique, and I really like that. Because of that, I can be pretty specific on which Green Day songs I want to talk about, mostly based on my mood and which albums I'm into at the moment. Like, if you're gonna talk to me about Green Day, you have to be ready to bring up more than just Dookie or American Idiot, or their popular hits. Yes, I love Basket Case. Yes, When I Come Around is great. Yes, Good Riddance is a beautiful song. Yes, Boulevard of Broken Dreams is a masterpiece. Yes, What's Her Name is debatably their best song. But I can only talk about the same shit for so long. I want to talk about tracks like Scattered from Nimrod, or how Warning is so underrated that it's basically a meme that it's never talked about much, or how 21st Century Breakdown is probably objectively their best album. I want to talk about songs like State of Night from Uno, Stray Heart from Dose, Missing You from Trey, or how severely underlooked Revolution Radio is, or even Troublemaker from Uno. Okay, wait, maybe not Troublemaker.
Hey, I wanna get inside of you. I wanna crack your cranium, delirium on the lower east side of your mind.
So that's just how I feel. I get that people have their own comfort albums for certain bands, but I do wish Green Day's material got more wider appeal apart from Dookie or American Idiot, but I would never call the albums overrated either, because, I mean, they're my top two. My original top 5 before Saviors were American Idiot, Dookie, 21st Century Breakdown, Nimrod, and I actually wasn't really sure what my 5th spot would have been. I thought about Warning, but I wouldn't say I loved that album as much as the previous 4 that were mentioned. I probably would have put Revolution Radio since I feel like it deserved more attention. But yeah, those were my top 5. And again, I can only talk about my top 2 for so long. Just branch out and give other albums a chance. My goodness, they have 14 of them now. I ramble a lot, I apologize. I just love this band so much, and I think all of their albums have great value. Well, except this one. I always felt that Green Day were meant to release a masterpiece album at least once every 10 years in their career. 1994 we got Dookie, a punk rock masterpiece that still stands the test of time. In 2004 we got American Idiot, my favorite album of all time, which reinvented the band for a new audience and rejuvenated their career, seriously cementing them as rock and roll legends. But in 2014 we didn't get a masterpiece. We got Demolicious, but that doesn't really count because they were more just rough demo recordings of several trilogy songs. Solid album, but I'm not really here to talk about the trilogy. They did release a masterpiece in 2009 known as 21st Century Breakdown, and I love that album to death. It ranked 3rd for me. It is the best follow-up that American Idiot could have ever gotten, but it was probably a masterpiece made way too early. I think we should have got something greater in 2014, and I wonder if I'm not the only fan out there who thinks we missed out on getting another masterpiece. 2016's Revolution Radio was a great return to form after the pretty messy trilogy, but I wouldn't call that a complete masterpiece either, and it didn't catch too many eyes like its predecessors did, despite fans like me really loving it. And Father of All was Father of All. I did my own review of it that was almost the exact same length as the album itself. It was a weird misfire from the band and just an overall experimental album in general that I just didn't really mesh with too much. But I feel like I've voiced that over and over again at this point, and I've put it off for long enough. After my still mixed reaction to Father of All Motherfuckers, what did I think of Saviors? Is this the masterpiece of 2024 that I was hoping for? Is it in similar ranks to Dookie and American Idiot to me? Well, and I know I'm not the first to say this, but Saviors is Green Day's best album since American Idiot. And American Idiot is my favorite album of like all time. So yeah, they fucking nailed it. You know the original top 5 Green Day albums I had? Well, the top 3 are still the same, but now Nimrod is taking 5th, because Saviors at the moment is my 4th favorite Green Day album. Let's fucking talk about this one because I've been having it on repeat since it dropped. Every issue I had with Father of All Motherfuckers in my review has practically been fixed with Saviors. The production is miles better, the songwriting is better and more fun, and you really feel the boys put their all into every song on the album. Is it too soon for me to consider this one of my top 5 favorite Green Day albums? I don't know, maybe. I don't care. I think if a new album gets me to listen to several songs from it over and over again just shortly after it's been out, then I think it did its job pretty damn well. Not that I'm a professional musician or some kind of maestro about this topic, but I like music, and I love Green Day. So let's take a look at these songs track by track. The first song, which was also the first single of the album, is The American Dream Is Killing Me. Since the song was released a week before Halloween, the music video for it would really take advantage of that, with it showing the band dressed as zombies while playing the song. It looks like it must have been a blast making this video, especially for the extras. This is one of my favorite songs from the album. Spoilers, I'm gonna end up saying that about several songs, and it really displays just how much better the production is. It's almost similar sounding to something off 21st Century Breakdown, especially this part.
People on the street, unemployed and obsolete. Did you ever learn to read the ransom note?
The American Dream Is Killing Me is a song about the confusion and chaos living in America right now, dealing with things such as the houseless to what time the Uber driver is going to show up. So enjoy it.
I always sort of saw this song as a follow-up to American Idiot, the title track, not the album. It's just as good of an opening track, it's got a catchy hook, and overall, it just puts a goddamn smile on my face hearing the boys still killing it this good, even with this weird-ass lyric.
Cracked up into the wild. We painted files for the American dream is killing me.
Interesting choice of words. I mean, the song's about a person who can't really stand the idea of the American dream anymore, so maybe this lyric is meant to spell out blatantly that the American people have basically perverted and ruined what the American dream is supposed to mean for people. That is so punk. It's a great song, and it was apparently one of the last ones made for the album. It also almost didn't make the final track list until Rob Cavallo had Billy play some demos for him, and pushed him to make it into a full song because he really liked the way it sounded.
Billy had been he'd been working on that song for quite a while and just tucked it away. It was one of the last songs, actually, that was unearthed for the album Saviors. Rob Cavallo, somehow Billy must have played it for him at one point. He was going through some demos and seeing what else he had. And Rob really wanted to sort of squeeze that one out of him. And we had to get into a room and really find out how we could structure that song. And all the parts were there. We really just wanted to make it Green Day. And so, yeah, The American Dream Is Killing Me.
Thanks, Rob.
Goddamn, I am so grateful. Forever faithful to the American dream is killing me. The American dream is killing me.
Track 2 is Look Ma, No Brains. Just a warning, if you're gonna watch the music video for this one, if you're epileptic then just be aware that there are flashing lights all over the video. It's a pretty short song, something more accompanied to the more fun one-off tracks off their old albums.
Slide dance on my face again. Nonsense is my own win. Rude boy going comatose. Drop out and I'm adios.
Look Ma, No Brains. Look Ma, No Hands. That's where the title kind of came from. It's probably one of my favorite punk songs that I've ever written about not having a clue.
I got pretty heavy Insomniac / Nimrod vibes from this one. It's a quick one that I honestly think Billy worded best. It's a song about not having a clue, and it's great. It was also used in a Taco Bell ad, which is interesting, or maybe it's secret social commentary that if you eat at Taco Bell, then you have no brains. Taco Bell's fucking disgusting, dude. Fun song, check it out.
Look, Ma, no brains. I don't know what to say. Real fucking good song.
Look, Mom, I ain't got no brains. I'm a god of
This next song is the latest single from the album that was released on the same day. It's Bobby Socks, one of my absolute favorites. In fact, in my top 5 Savior tracks, it's number 5. The music video was actually filmed at a private venue where a couple fans attended and were featured in the video. The band put on a little concert and debuted Bobby Socks for the first time live. And those sons of bitches got to hear Nice Guys Finish Last get played at the venue? Lucky bastards. This song is just fun. I feel like it harkens back to when Billy was younger and wrote songs about being in love.
Do you wanna be my girlfriend? I'll take you to a movie that we've already seen. Or sit at home and watch reruns. There's no other place I wanna be.
Actually, Billy would even admit that the main inspiration for this song was his relationship with his wife, Adrian.
Bobby Socks was originally about just sitting on the sofa or going to a movie with my missus. It was sort of more about like our relationship. But I flipped the script a little bit with the second chorus where it goes into, do you want to be my boyfriend? So I've sort of flipped the gender thing before on Basket Case, but this one gives it a whole new level. Sort of turns the song into a queer anthem.
By the way, I made a Spotify playlist containing every known song that Billy wrote about Adrian over the years. I'll link it in the description for anyone who wants a wholesome playlist to put on. And Bill wasn't wrong about the song being a queer anthem either, because while it does start out with Billy going, do you wanna be my girlfriend? He flips the gender like he says, and does some pretty kick-ass vocal fry screams.
Do you wanna be my boyfriend? Do you wanna be my boyfriend? Do you wanna be my boyfriend? Do you wanna be my boyfriend?
That's fucking awesome. Bobby Socks was also trending when it first came out because apparently even more right-wing users hated the song for being a queer anthem, and I'm sure accused Green Day of being woke, whatever that means anymore. Do people just not fucking know that Billy Joe has always been bisexual? Like, do you guys remember the song Coming Clean from Dookie? That was a banger and a half, right? Well, guess what? That was the queer anthem too! The OG queer anthem because Billy wrote it about coming out as bi! You fucking morons! Anyways, if you're gay or bi, go listen to Bobby Socks because it was made for you and it's great. And if you gays want more queer anthems, apart from Coming Clean from Dookie, King for a Day from Nimrod is also a queer anthem, so go check those songs out too, and I'm sure there's even more queer anthems out there that they wrote that my straight ass just can't detect.
Do you wanna be my boyfriend? We'll walk the cemetery and I'll kiss you again and make our dead friends blush. Oh, we'll be getting married right there on the scene.
Next was a pretty controversial one, but for a slightly different reason. It's track 4, One-Eyed Bastard. It's another favorite of mine, and it's the last single to be put out before the album was released. It has a silly little music video too, with this one-eyed goober walking and driving around, while also being accompanied by... Wait a tick, is that Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse? Holy fuck.
What's this? He's flipping the bird. He's giving the finger. And I'm not making this up.
That bada bing, bada bing, bada boom shit has been stuck in my head for months, dude. And yes, I said months. While the song was officially released in January as a single, it was also leaked online back in May 2023. And I was able to get my hands on the leaked version of the song, and I had that shit on repeat for a while. I wouldn't really recommend tracking down the leaked version though. It sounds practically the exact same as the final version, apart from one little filter being applied to the vocals.
One-Eyed Bastard is a song about revenge. I think we all think about it. But basically, it's holding on to grudges and then fantasizing about what you could do with them.
With how similar it sounds, it makes me wonder if this was maybe the first song on the album to be finished, but it's a great song about revenge that's catchy as hell and probably cathartic for some to listen to. Also, if you have seen any Green Day concert, you may have noticed that Billy really loves to channel Freddie Mercury by doing this. And for One-Eyed Bastard, Billy literally wrote parts for him to sing just that. This should be a pretty fun one to play live, though at the time of this review, they've only played the song once so far, which was during the recent Irving Plaza concert, so can't wait to see it more at future shows.
Well, I can remember all the bad memories. I never forget a face that's quite so ugly. Hey, oh, lost years are wasted. I always liked you, but I'm glad that you're all dead.
Now go check the song out if you haven't, for Mickey's sake, please.
One-Eyed Bastard, well, that song says it like it is, I guess. It's a pretty angry song and kicks ass. It leaves skid marks in your ears. So listen to it loud and enjoy.
Next is not only another favorite song, it's another one from my top 5 on the album, which is number 3 in fact. It's track 5, Dilemma. This song is fucking amazing and deserves a place as one of Green Day's best songs ever. I'm not exaggerating, it is that fucking good. The other songs were catchy, awesome pop punk, but this song is very clearly more personal just from the opening lyric.
Welcome to my problems. It's not an invitation. This is my dilemma, and it's my obsession.
I always love when Billy writes about personal experiences. It especially hits harder when you're fully aware of how awful Billy's drug habits were a decade earlier, so seeing him be able to write a song about his struggles into sobriety is incredible. I love the vocal fry too. Billy's vocals are seriously killing it on this record.
I was sober, now I'm drunk again. I'm in trouble and in love again. I don't wanna be a dead man walking. I don't wanna be a dead man walking.
Dilemma is about addiction, feeling like you're at the grips of something that you can't control.
The music video's fun too, and there's even a making of video for the song itself, which shows some in-studio footage of the 3 boys working on the song. I love shit like this, and I hope we get more of these for other tracks too.
Yeah, I like that too. Sure. We'll do this. And then come over here. I'm in trouble and in love again.
One interesting fact about Dilemma, there's a behind the scenes photo of Rob Cavallo with the original track list, and according to the original track list, Dilemma was originally going to be the opening song. And while I think The American Dream Is Killing Me is still a better opener, the album opening with the lyrics Welcome to My Problems, that would have gone pretty hard. The track list also lists about 16 songs, and while most of them did make the album, 5 of them are pretty frustratingly covered up. And track 10 was going to be Something Fritz. There's no song on Saviors that has Fritz in the name. What was that song gonna be? Need to hear Schnickel Fritz. But getting back to Dilemma, Dilemma is a testament to the fact that Green Day has never lost their lust for making great songs, and it's most definitely become one of my all-time favorite songs by them ever. It always bugs me when people act like Dookie was their only good album, cause they're missing out on songs like this. The band didn't sell out, guys. They grew up.
I was sober, now I'm drunk again. I'm in trouble and in love again. I don't wanna be a dead man walking. I don't wanna be a dead man walking.
The next song was the first one that the whole world got to hear from the album. It's 1981. I'll admit, I wasn't too crazy about the song when I heard the first few live performances. I thought it was alright, just a bit repetitive, but I also didn't want to be too harsh on it because maybe the amateur live recordings probably weren't doing the song full justice. And upon hearing the studio version, yeah, my opinion flipped. It's a catchy song that I had to slowly warm up to, and now it's one of my favorites.
She's throwing punches to the beat, to the sound of cable TV, and she'll never see the world the same.
1981 is sort of my tribute to the Cold War and the first time you ever seen something on cable TV like MTV. So a girl punching to the beat, kind of like Billy Idol, while you're watching him do Rebel Yell.
I got heavy Ramones vibes from this song, mainly from its pretty simple hook and how short the song actually is. It's basically another short fun one like Look Ma No Brains from earlier. I love it. Next is another top 5 from this album. Ranking 4th, it's Goodnight Adeline. I love this song so much, it's so pretty sounding. It also kinda reminded me of some of the better tracks from the Trilogy era. It's just got a great feel to it.
Can you feel my pain? Can you sing my sorrow? Here comes a better day, but it's got nothing to do with tomorrow. I'm sick in bed again. My head's under my pillow.
Part of the reason why I love Saviors so much is because it feels like it takes elements from every Green Day album and throws it all in. Albums with a variety in their sound like this just have a huge appeal for me, and it makes listening to the full thing more than once never become boring. Also, remember when I talked about the anniversary release of Nimrod? Well, there was an unreleased demo in the 25th anniversary edition, which was a cover for an Elvis Costello song called Allison. It's a really pretty cover, and I feel like it kinda sounds similar to Goodnight Adeline, so if that was an intentional callback, then it was really smart releasing that demo first.
Allison, I know this world is killing you. Goodnight, Adeline. You're gonna say goodbye and let it go.
We're 8 fucking tracks in, and I feel like Savior still hasn't lost any steam. So yes, I love Goodnight Adeline, it's great and I recommend listening to it. But forget what I think, let's hear what Green Day drummer Trey Cool had to say about the song on Green Day radio.
Here's one called Goodnight Adeline, which is an anthemic stadium rock song for your enjoyment. It should rumble your spleen a little bit and make you kind of poop a little bit at the end. So enjoy.
Thanks, Trey. Now go check it out. Next is track 8, Coma City! The sequel to Murder City from 21st Century Breakdown that I never knew I wanted. This song is fucking great. It's fast-paced, has great guitar riffs, and god, I hope they play it live soon because it's fucking awesome.
Coma City, pull down the shade, board up the windows and drink lemonade. Coma City, don't call the cops. Word on the street is they all quit their jobs.
Coma City is, I see it as a collage of rioting in the streets during a lot of crazy times that we've had between 2020 up until now, whether it's something like about the George Floyd protests to the insurrection. It sort of captures everything as collages in my brain.
This song kicks so much ass that even though they didn't release it as a single, and I don't think it's a charting song just yet, but while I was editing, the band released a making of video about Coma City, and I think that's pretty sick. It also took me a bit to realize that these making of videos are using the same clips that were featured in those 1972 teasers on their social media accounts. I'm willing to bet this most likely means we're gonna get even more making of videos about several songs, and I can't wait, I love behind the scenes shit like this.
Before it gets warmed up.
And okay, maybe it doesn't actually sound like Murder City, but I just love the idea that this song is a sequel to that particular song, and it was one of the best songs off 21st Century Breakdown too. I really recommend it.
Desperate, but not hopeless. I feel so useless in the murder city. Coma City, pull down the shade, board up the windows and drink lemonade.
Oh, they're such a fun pair. I love this band. Go listen to Coma City, it's so good.
Coma City, Coma City, Coma City, Coma City, Coma City.
Track 9 is Corvette Summer, another personal favorite. Just like with Coma City, this one's just a lot of fun. I've probably already said that about most of the songs on the album, but how else would you describe this? Listen to it.
Here we go now. Get around, I can get around. Fuck it up on my rock and roll. Here we go now. Get around, I can get around. Drop a bomb on my rock and roll.
Once you hear that shit for the first time, it's gonna be stuck in your head for a while. I honestly think Green Day bassist Mike Dirnt perfectly described what the appeal of the song is.
Corvette Summer. This song makes me want to just throw the top down and put the pedal down. There's certain songs that make you just want to get in your car and drive. Songs scream summer. It screams it so much that our manager, Jonathan Daniel, actually suggested the name for it, which couldn't have been more perfect.
Can't get enough of that cowbell either. It's so damn good. Fun song, go give it a listen.
Take me to urgent care or the record store. Here we go now. Get around, I can get around. Fuck it up on my rock and roll. Here we go now.
We're now at track 10, by the way, which is Suzie Chapstick.
Suzie Chapstick, that is a guitar-rific awesomeness, one of my favorites right now. It tickles me in a fun way.
Thanks, Trey. I couldn't have described the way this song sounds any better than that. I sort of pair this one up with Goodnight Adeline, and while I prefer the other, I do really like the story that Suzie Chapstick is telling. The more I listen to this song over time, I just end up liking it more and more. It's a nice one to put on when you're working on a project or you just need a relaxing song to listen to.
Will I ever see your face again? Not just photos from an Instagram. Will you say hello from across the street? From a place and time we used to meet.
Suzie Chapstick could be a song about what your friends are up to lately you haven't seen in years, looking on Instagram to see how other people's lives are doing, and we're all alive and doing well together, so...
But it does make me question something. You know how Green Day announced for their Saviors tour that they're going to be playing the entirety of both Dookie and American Idiot in concert? They actually did stuff like this in the past before, first performing the entirety of American Idiot at certain concerts between 2004 and 2005, and during their 2013 99 Revolutions tour, they played the entirety of Dookie for the first time at certain shows. Hell, American Idiot and Dookie weren't the only albums to be played in full either. Even 21st Century Breakdown was played in full at a few of the band's earlier shows in 2009, but definitely not as frequently as the other two. I bring this all up because I genuinely hope that Saviors gets played in full at some point too, mainly because it might end up being the only time songs like Suzie Chapstick get played live. I really hope we see that at some point. But if not Saviors in full, then maybe just surprise fans by playing this song out of nowhere. It's a solid deep cut on the album that I really like. Also, I really fucking hope we get to see 21st Century Breakdown played in full again at some point. I love that album so goddamn much.
Outside my window before the sun comes up to shine. It's just another vacant, cold and lonely night.
Okay, next is track 11, my favorite song on Saviors. Not the best song, I place it number 2 in my top 5, but it's the one song on the album that I've gone back to the most, which is...
Shining shades are in the stand. Ever since Bowie died, it hasn't been the same.
This fucking song is fucking amazing. I'll admit, I can become very desperate for leaks of any kind when it comes to forms of entertainment I'm really into, especially music, so I kinda help moderate the Green Day community website as a media mod. One of the mods, who I'm not gonna name in case they don't want to be mentioned for doing this, went to one of the early listening parties for Saviors that Green Day had organized at several record stores, where fans attending got to hear songs from the album early. This was on January 13th, almost a week before the album was out, and the GDC mod who went to one of these early listening parties, recorded every song on their phone, and shared it with some of us in the group chat to hear. I listened to the entirety of the album from front to back this way, and once I got to Strange Days Are Here to Stay, I was like, holy fuck, this is good. This is like damn good. It had me just from the opening. I love Billy's voice. The lyrics are amazing and just, oh my god, I love this song.
Well, this is how the world will end when superheroes play pretend. They promised us forever when we got less.
Strange Days Are Here to Stay is sort of kind of sums up the record in a lot of ways. You know, I think there's the line, ever since Bowie died, it hasn't been the same. And that was in 2016. And I have to say, me and my friends were sort of right. When Bowie died, things had just gotten weirder and weirder.
It is the basket case of saviors. No, it's the state of night of saviors. No, it's the motherfucking letter bomb of saviors. I saw a YouTube commenter explain this song the best, describing it as if Letter Bomb and State of Night had a baby, and we got this, the brother of Basket Case.
Ever since Bowie died, it hasn't been the same. All the magnet going mental, grandma's on the fentanyl now.
That lyric, ever since Bowie died, hits pretty damn hard, especially when you realize it's been 8 damn years since David Bowie passed away. Hell, Saviors even released in January, which was when he passed away. Makes me wonder if that was why they chose this month to release the album. And Bowie was very clearly a big hero and influence for Billy Joe. Side note, I was so fucking disappointed that this song didn't appear at the Irving Plaza 2024 concert from earlier, and if this doesn't start becoming a regular song, or at the very least make as many live appearances as Letter Bomb has, there's gonna be hell to pay, Billy. And I hope to God we get a music video for this song too, because it seriously goddamn deserves it. Great fucking song, one of the best on the album, and I think an instant classic like a lot of Green Day's discography.
Are we in hell or is this just a fantasy? I can't see this ending well, now that it's too late. Strange days are here to stay.
Okay, so after hearing a song that good, you might think the album may have just peaked, but it didn't. Thankfully, we have 4 songs left, and the one right after Strange Days is quite decent. Track 12, Living in the 20s. It's another short, but still pretty fun one similar to Look Ma in 1981.
Congratulations, best of luck and blessings. We're all together and we're living in the 20s. Salutations on another era. My condolences, ain't that a kick in the...
Before listening to the song, I actually thought it was going to be about living in the 1920s, but upon hearing the opening lyrics making reference to the mass shootings that have been happening recently, I instantly realized, oh, it's about the 2020s. That makes more sense.
Living in the 20s is sort of the adventures of QAnon and all of the crazy information and algorithms that we get, whether it's about school shootings or Pizzagate or murder hornets or having sex with AI robots. Yeah, it kind of shows how dysfunctional our society has become.
By the way, the sex with AI robots thing is referencing these golden lyrics.
I got a robot and I'm fucking it senseless. It comes with batteries and only speaks in English.
Yeah, it's a pretty crazy song, with some great vocal fry again from Billy singing too. Just a fun-ass song making commentary on current events. And if you really care about this guy's opinion, Fantano actually considered this one of his favorite songs on the album. So there you go, check it out.
Ain't that a kick in the head? Ain't that a kick in the head?
So where else is there for Green Day to go after mass shootings and having sex with robots? Well, how about a sequel to Wake Me Up When September Ends? I'm not kidding, that's basically what the next song is. Track 13 is Father to a Son. And while Strange Days Are Here to Stay was a pleasant surprise for me, Father to a Son was actually the one song on the album I was looking forward to the most, and it delivered on every aspect. If you can't tell from the title, actually I'll let Billy himself explain it.
Father to a Son is an intimate song that I wrote about being a father that I wanted to dedicate to my 2 sons. It's one of the most personal songs on the record.
Yeah, you see why I consider this a Wake Me Up When September Ends sequel? It even has an acoustic intro too.
You're a lighthouse in a storm. From the day that you were born, a promise, Father father to a son.
Sounds pretty good so far, but then...
A place you want more than I could give. Father to a son.
Oh my god, the strings! The strings are back! Yes! I won!
Well, I made a few mistakes, but I'll never break your heart, I promise. Father to a son.
Oh, this song is a masterpiece. Strange Days is still my personal favorite on the basis of that song kicking serious ass, but I think Father to a Son is easily the best song on the album. It is remarkably beautiful and really stands out against the rest of the record. But I will admit, I might be a tiny bit biased about that, especially since Billy has basically confirmed that this is a Wake Me Up When September Ends sequel, and with that song being my first and favorite Green Day song to this day, it just makes me love Father to a Son so much more. I also got When It's Time vibes from it too. Once again, Father to a Son is a fantastic song, and it's easily the best on the album. Go listen to it.
Is there anything I can do? When somewhere your heart is heading to?
Enough of that emotional shit, let's get back to punk rock. Next is the title track, Saviors. That's pretty excellent placement on the album too, coming right after the best song. I wasn't crazy about this one at first, but upon further re-listens, I like it a lot. I don't think I'd rank it in my top 5, but it's another great title track from the band. In the same vein as American Idiot, 21st Century Breakdown, and of course Warning.
We got a feeling like a flicker of light, out of sight, but like a halo. We're all waiting on the summer, but the sun is out of view.
Saviors is the first song I wrote after the pandemic when everyone was just looking for some kind of leadership to figure out what the hell was going on. And we had none. It turned into chaos. So it's just about that, and also Green Day could possibly be your rock and roll saviors too. So there's that.
Not much else to really say about it. It's just a good rock song with awesome guitar solos and a great hook to it. Give it a listen.
Calling all saviors tonight, make us all believers tonight. Calling all strangers tonight, will somebody save us tonight?
Fancy Sauce is the last song on our album, and it kind of sums up the chaos and insanity that goes on throughout the record, ups and downs that you feel. It's like life is a roller coaster. And it's sort of one of those songs where you feel like you're in a straitjacket in a rubber room and feel like a victim, like everyone feels like a victim these days. It's sort of a song that you can really kind of see your life flash before your eyes.
Here we are, the final song to close out the album, Fancy Sauce. This one's pretty slow at first, but it kicks into a really fun anthem song. It's like Graffitia if it had better production.
Go, go, falling like a yo-yo, paradise for locals, medicate my sorrow, I'm not crazy.
But this is also the one song on the album I don't look forward to listening to when I get to it, because once it starts playing, it means I've reached the end of this fun-ass album. I know I don't really have too much else to really say, just a really fun closing song to a really fun Green Day album.
We all die young someday. We all die young and watch it slip away. We all die young someday.
Oh man, and that was Saviors. It was so good, you guys. I seriously love this album to death. I was literally listening to every song again while writing this review, and oh my god, so good. This would be where I end the review maybe, but there is one more song to look at, and it's only available on the Japanese release of Saviors. Yeah, Green Day likes doing that one thing that a lot of bands do where other countries will get certain versions of albums with bonus tracks on them, like B-sides and such. For the last few albums, all their Japanese exclusive bonus tracks have been live tracks. Now, again, I don't entirely mind because Green Day are a great live band, and getting official live material from them is always fun. Though I will admit, the bonus tracks for the last two albums were kinda lacking. Revolution Radio more so. It received the live track for Letter Bomb, weirdly enough, and don't get me wrong, the one thing I love more than Letter Bomb is Letter Bomb Live, but this was just the same live track that was ripped directly from the deluxe edition of the band's Awesome as Fuck live album. You can even go find it on Spotify if you're curious. It's a kick-ass performance. For Father of All Motherfuckers, its bonus track was a live track for Bang Bang from Revolution Radio? Huh. Okay. I love Bang Bang, it's one of my favorite songs from Revolution Radio, but it's weird how the live tracks included weren't live recordings of an actual song from the corresponding album? It's a bit strange, but whatever. However, the Japanese release of Saviors didn't include a live track, but an unreleased song. Yeah, we got a new B-side track thanks to Saviors, and it's a song called Fever. Though, on the back of the album, it points out that the mixing was handled by a different person. All the songs on Saviors were mixed by Chris Lord-Agel, who also helped mix other albums like the anniversary editions of Dookie and Nimrod in the past, and he usually does a solid job. However, the bonus track on the Japanese release of Saviors was mixed by someone else. This was Chris Dugan, a sound engineer for Saviors who also did mixing for albums like the Awesome as Fuck live album, Demolicious, and even Father of All Uh-Oh.
I got a fever tonight. Fever tonight.
Oh my god, the fucking clapping. This is another Father of All outtake. Guess I'm not entirely done talking about that album. Damn it. I think it's definitely miles better than Here Comes the Shock from earlier, and in comparison to the other Father of All Motherfucker songs, I think this is actually one of the better sounding ones. I kinda wish it made the album back in 2020 over certain songs, but I'm glad to see it finally get a release of some kind.
It's never easy.
So, as a Father of All track, it's fine and fits that album well. But as a Saviors track? Oh yeah, the worse production and weirder mixing absolutely sticks out in comparison to the other songs. It's still an okay song though. And it's neat that we got a legitimate B-side from one of these non-US releases. First time in a while too, and that's pretty much all I've got to say about it.
Here comes trouble. And it's going down. Singing life's a gas when you're going fast, looking for a fight.
Guess what? I got a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell.
Get around, I can get around. Drop a bomb on my rock and roll.
And that was Saviors, currently my fourth favorite Green Day album. And what else is there in store for Green Day? Well, that might be too soon to really say. Saviors is still brand new, and the tour for the album is set to begin this summer, with the boys planning on performing the entirety of their Dookie and American Idiot albums in full at apparently every show that tour, which is gonna be pretty insane. And since those are my two top Green Day albums, I'm pretty much required to go to at least one of these shows. Fuck. It'll be fun again. I'm gonna guess their next album is gonna come out in either 2028 or 2029. But really, right now, I'm just looking forward to the eventual 20th anniversary edition of American Idiot, which we will hopefully be getting later in the year. Hope it includes more unreleased demos and full live concerts again. Imagine if the demos for the Lost Cigarettes and Valentine's album are also included, finally getting unearthed after 2 decades. Almost like Green Day released 2 full albums this year. For now, I'm just gonna go back to listening to Saviors on repeat for the coming future, and pair my favorite songs with all my other favorite Green Day songs too. It feels genuinely nice to have a new Green Day album and have it sounding so damn good, so I can't wait to see what else Green Day releases in the future, and I hope to see them live again soon. Go listen to Saviors please, it is an excellent album and I love it a lot. I know Fantano gave it a 3, but who gives a shit. You really expect me to trust that man's opinions after what he did to that Green Day tier list? You put 21st Century Breakdown in E? Below the trilogy? That takes balls, dude. And I actually kinda like that he said the trilogy was a bit overhated. That was kinda nice to hear. Also, he put Nimrod in B? Okay, I'm glad he liked it. Nimrod's great. But yeah, go listen to Saviors and don't be one of those obnoxious Green Day fans who act like Dookie's the only good album they made. I love Green Day, and to quote my friend Shaddix, I'm glad they unsold out.
Kerplunk is the only good record they ever made. We need to make a record like Dookie again.
Hey everyone, I just finished editing the review. I did not plan on this being an hour-long video about Green Day's new album, but I sat down one night and I'm just like, I'll just type what comes to mind, and I ended up just writing the entire review, so I figured, oh, okay, I should probably knock this out first. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed me fanboying about the new Green Day album. I'll get back to talking about Sonic and Mario like usual later. Thanks for watching, and take care. Go listen to Saviors.